Hello everybody, welcome to News from the Heart. I am Heather George and I have the unbelievable honor and privilege of sitting with my guru, a guru to some, a teacher to many, and hopefully introducing you all to Swami Chaitanananda, and today particularly talking about teacher and guru and the difference between those two things a little bit. And maybe that's a good place to start, is really briefly describing if you see a difference between teacher and guru and what that is.
Well, a teacher is, first of all, a conveyor of information. A teacher is someone who helps you to frame a model and a context in which you can sort of begin to understand your life. Now, it's my general experience, my general idea is that any model that we frame for our life is a mental construct. Even my model, having been, and I've worked on it for like 40-some years now, my model is a mental construct, and as such, it is inherently wrong. All models are inherently wrong. But you know, we need a model to sort of begin to be able to, you know, contextualize our experience and refine our data so that we can continually have deeper insights into the meaning of our experience and the nature of experience itself. So a teacher will help us create a model and a context. And the next thing is a teacher might help us to train ourselves according to the particular discipline that we are engaging in. A teacher can also be like a trainer. Oh, and so you have yoga teachers, or you have kung fu teachers, or you could have, you know, martial arts teachers, any kind of thing, any endeavor that you are going to engage in, you know, for your own refinement. A teacher could train you in the basic skills that are appropriate to that particular modality.
And you can learn those things with or without a teacher. You
can. It's the reason why I would say it's better to have a teacher, because, you know, for instance, in yoga, if you teach yourself a headstand, which is not too hard to do, if you teach yourself a headstand and you practice it and it's a little bit off, in short order, not in a long time, you're going to have neck problems, which are then going to be compensated down through your shoulder and through your shoulder into your middle back and through your middle back to your pelvis and your knee and your ankle. And one of those junction points is going to give way, probably your neck first, but if you persist, you know, it's going to be a problem. So having a teacher who's giving you some points about style and technique, you know, giving you feedback about methodology is really kind of a very extremely useful thing. Most people who try to reinvent the wheel take way too long and screw it up in the process. So
there's efficiency in having a teacher.
A teacher. The other thing is a teacher really supports us in our focus. Having that helps us focus. So, but a guru is something completely different. You know, the word guru means dispeller of darkness. And in this case, the darkness is duality. Thinking that, you know, our body is the container of our mind and our soul, and that our body is separate from other bodies, and that our resource use is in some way, you know, in competition with the resource use of others, you know, creates a struggle within ourselves. It creates fear. It creates all illusions of insufficiency, and it creates, you know, anxiety, anger, etc., and violence. Having a guru is different, because having a guru is the experience of a connectedness that is energetic, a connectedness that is heart to heart and mind to mind, beyond physical form, beyond words, beyond thought, beyond conception. It is this experience of connectedness that, like the waves landing on the beach, you know, is transforming us just by our presence there.
Very different than a teacher.
Very different than a teacher, because the company of a guru is not really at all about the transmission of a model, the creation of a context, or any kind of development of skill sets. A guru can also be a teacher, because, you know, like I serve as a teacher for most of the people whom I exchange with.
But all gurus don't have to be teachers.
Well, Nityananda was definitely, my guru's guru was definitely not a teacher.
Okay.
Nityananda was the divine presence, and the best thing I've ever heard said about him was said by Chakrapani, who was with Nityananda every weekend for 9 years in a row in India when he was alive. Chakrapani came here to celebrate with us the 50th anniversary of Nityananda's Mahasamadhi. And
day that he transitioned out of his body, for those of you who don't know.
His ascendance. And Chakrapani said of Nityananda, the only thing I can say about it really is that Nityananda's presence was thrilling. It was thrilling. How beautiful. And that experience of thrilling, that experience of fullness in our heart and soul, in time dissolves the tensions in us, dissolves the stresses, dissolves the anxieties. You know, it is teaching us moment by moment that we are not alone, that we are connected, that there is, you know, sufficiency in our life on every level. There are resources available to us from within to meet every challenge that we will face in growing as a human being. And that is extraordinary. That doesn't mean that we don't have work to do once we have a guru. Well, in fact, we have a lot of work to do, because overcoming our own conditioning, the conditioning of our, you know, family life, our early life, our experience that we are separate somehow and insufficient, takes a lot of work. But the result is astonishing. So it is the unconditional love of a guru, in my opinion, that really allows us to accept ourselves. You know, to rise above all of the rejection that we have ever faced in our life, to, you know, be in a place that is unconditionally loving. And to, you know, and in that case what happens is that our life too becomes a beacon for all of those whom our life touches. So it's really very beautiful. And you know, a guru, it's like people say, nobody's going to tell me what to do. Well, trust me, friends. First of all, I've been teaching for like 45 years now. I've been teaching for a long time. Nobody in my life has ever done what I told them to do. So, at least for me, I never have the expectation anybody is going to pay attention to anything I say for at least the first 6 years. Everybody thinks they know better. The people who stay around for longer than 6 years, then it's possible to have a real conversation with. But
I'm one of those people that hasn't been around 6 years, so I have a million things to say right now, but they're personal. Jeez, I got a long work to go. So maybe to wrap up this section, and I want to talk more, we're going to have more sections for sure talking about gurus and teachers, because I think it's a really fascinating subject, and the concept of guru is really unfamiliar to a lot of people. The concept of teacher is easier to swallow, and today in just this section we know there's a huge difference between a guru and a teacher. So wrapping up, can you just briefly a little bit talk to people about imagining their world out there and looking for a teacher or guru, and either advice, look for this, don't look for that, do this, don't do that.
First of all, any teacher or guru who thinks their model is perfect or even right is somebody you probably want to avoid. You know, there is no right model. They're just models. And if we're going to grow, we need to have a model to begin with. It's like you need to have a container to hold the water to sprout the seed. So that's the model. And then you have to pay attention to, I think, 6 factors in a particular practice or community.
Are these the 6 that we went over the other day?
These are respect, meaning everybody gets to paint their own canvas. Loyalty, personal responsibility, devotion, compassion, and unconditional love. These are the 6 important stages of spiritual development. And if you find some place like that, and you feel like it's a good place for you, engage it.
And we're going to talk more about practice and about gurus and teachers and some other fun stuff. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on another episode of News from the Heart.